in mid-September, the detour around the Mayland Station roadworks or whatever it is changed. And this was completely confusing for me because I'd been using one detour for about 6 months. And after this detour route changed, no signage seemed to have been put up anywhere apart from in the maze to tell you that there was a new detour. I mean, you had to get into the maze before you found this sign, which says you can't go through here anymore. You got to go and find another way around, which seems a bit of a screwball way to run a project to me. So the first time I did it, I went all the way in there, and then on the way back to find where the detour was going now, I was looking intently for signage wherever I could find it. And generally, I found it to be a complete fail. I mean, there are yellow directional signs here and there, but I'm not going to say they're well placed, and there's not a lot of them, and there's no map, certainly no map that I could find. And, when you get to this point, it's not really clear this is where you're supposed to go at all. Are you supposed to use the force to find this? Now, I've been through a couple of times since, and each time I've, again, failed to find any useful signage to how to get through this route. And I asked all those guys there, hey, how'd you go with the detour? Did you know where you were going? And they all laughed. Because the red arrow shows where we've been going for ages, and the green arrow shows kind of where we're supposed to go these days. But there's nothing here to really say clearly that's where you're supposed to go. You go across at the lights here, at least I assume this is what you do. You go across at the lights, press the button, and then wait to go across at these lights again, and then you go under the subway. You don't turn left, which is what we've been doing for a long time. Under the subway, a little bit further on, and then go up this very nice new path, I've got to say. The concrete ramp that's been built is pretty smick, but in terms of finding it, yeah, you could probably spend a little money on the signage to find the ramp would help a lot, I'd say. Because previously there was another detour coming down from the right there. I think there's been, 3 or 4 different routes through here, and every time it changes, it's a bit confusing. So at this point, what do we got? Well, we've got 2 signs that say no pedestrians and no bikes. But hang on, isn't this where we're supposed to be going? And I guess what that means is they don't want any bikes on the right side of those barriers, and they don't want any pedestrians on the left of those barriers. But those signs up there are confusing, and they're completely contradictory to the idea of actually sending pedestrians up here on the right and cyclists up on the left. So whoever put the signage plan together, I don't think really thought it through or jumped on a bike and rode it through. Or even if they did they get someone who had no idea about the changes to the detour to ride through without a map and to figure out where they're supposed to be going? Now, I know where to go from here because having ridden through the previous detours plenty of times, I know I just keep on going straight. Now, I rode up this side street to see what it was like coming at another angle, and next to that truck, there is still a sign there saying that is a pedestrian and bike path on the other side of the fence, even though all that's been ripped up. So, yeah, the old redundant signage hasn't been removed. And when I came at it from this direction, there was certainly nothing really obvious to say the route has changed, don't go down that path anymore, or you're going to run straight into the front of a truck that's sitting there. Right, where do we go from here? Okay, there's a sign there that says no pedestrians. It's pretty small, hard to read from this side of the road. Over on the left of it, there's a sign that says cyclists this way. Okay, it's not a bad size, but from here, it's a long way away. How about putting a symbol down on the road here, a dirty great big white bike symbol with an arrow pointing over there saying cyclists, you cut through this island and you get onto this ramp and it's all good. You can use more than just signs stuck up on poles. You can use pavement markings as well. And look, there's pavement markings on this path here. Look, they're there in green. So why not stick them out on the road in white? A nice big standard size with an arrow. Get some stencils out, get some white paint out, and if need be, do that in various places around the detour to make it, really blatantly obvious where the new detour goes. Now, this point here, first time I went through, I actually rode where that red arrow goes because I saw some people on bikes where that star is, and somehow they'd gotten confused, and I thought, well, maybe they know where they're going, so I follow them, and that turned into a complete debacle. That is just a terrible, terrible way to go, because again, there's nothing terribly obvious. I know there's these red and white poles here, but there's not terribly obvious that this is where the cycle detour goes. And previously, I used to actually cross at the lights there. So where are we supposed to cross there? You got to erase all that from your memory. Okay, we're here. Show me the signage, because I can't find any. From this point, as I'm coming around this corner, I don't know where to go. So let's just make an assumption. Let's assume I hadn't come through here previously. Let's assume I'd ridden in from Guildford or Midland or the Swan Valley, and I'm riding into the city, and I get to the detour, and I've come down the ramp, and I get to here, and it's like, now what? I'm not from around here, guys. This is the first time I've ever ridden through here. I'm a German backpacker. Arrived in Perth yesterday. I have no knowledge of where the cycle paths are, and and I have no way of knowing how to get through this detour. Show me how an alien that's just landed from another planet, where they're supposed to go. And there's some small yellow signs on the other side of the road. Again, very hard to see, when you're standing here looking around, looking for stuff. The sign to the parking lot is bigger than the detour sign, much bigger. It's like 20 times bigger. Okay, from here, where's the signage? I'll give you a hint. It's hiding behind a car, and it's hiding behind a pole. When all the cars disappear, you can actually see on the other side of the road there that says cyclists. That assumes that there's no vehicles blocking your view across the road while you're standing here, because most of the time there's cars, trucks, buses, all the rest of it up against the line here, and you can't see through them because, funnily enough, they're made out of metal or they've got tinted windows. So the assumption that you're standing here and you can see signage on the other side of the road is completely false. And again, behind the pedestrian walk signal up there is in fact a cyclist sign hidden behind the pole. So it becomes visible as we cross, but only here. And now what we're doing here, this is important. All my focus is on that ramp, that red area. My eyeballs are down there. They're nowhere else. I'm making sure I don't hit that pole either. That's where I'm looking. And as I come off the ramp, I'm looking there. My eyes aren't up looking for signage. I'm looking to make sure I don't stuff up that turn and hit the curb and crash. Now you've got 2 seconds then to see the signs as you come around the corner. Now obviously I know where they are, but look at which way they're facing. They're not facing front on to you as you go around the corner. They're facing side on. So there's a lot of assumptions there about being made about where people are positioned and what they can see. Now, by contrast, I look at this detour, a kilometre or so away, and it's fantastic. It's like it's done by two different people with completely different mindsets. This is really good, high quality, well done, thumbs up. But that stuff around the station, it really needs a major rethink.